Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the Tier 8 Soviet cruiser, the Mikhail Kutuzov. I think that this is an amazing ship because she can do almost anything. She has really good range, 19 kilometers. She has good rate of fire. Her HE fire chance is good enough. She is maneuverable. She has smoke. She has the anti-air ability. She has decent torpedoes. Essentially, the ship has like everything if you look at it on paper. The downside of the ship is that she has 155mm caliber guns, which means that her HE is like 0 damage on almost anything armored. And the other thing is that, well, she's a cruiser and she isn't all that well armored, so she goes poof very quickly if someone looks at her funny. Anyways, this match is on the map north, so I decide to push in towards B to use the island as cover so that I can do my initial shelling. I mean, there is the choice of staying at maximum range and trying that one, or going closer and trying to hide behind islands. I picked the second one. There's a Hatsuharu in B, so I'm gonna focus her now, because that one's the more important one. I was hoping that I could stop the B cap, but not possible at the moment. Once we chase the Hatsuharu away, I guess I could like turn around and go into the cap. The Kutuzov has very poor concealment. Like, I'm talking like Tirpitz level concealment. Which, you know, you think it's fine, but she's a cruiser, not a battleship. So essentially I'm gonna just shell everything I can here, because the closer enemies are behind islands, and so that means I don't have to worry about it. Also, notice that you're gonna be the carrier's best friend, even if you're not going to cover her, because you have strong anti-air. So if the enemy carrier wants to do fighter battles, if they can do it above you, they will always do it. Because I mean, look at this. This is a US carrier against a Japanese carrier, and they have the same amount of plane squadrons, which means that the Japanese one is at a disadvantage. But just because she flew next to me, well, the US carrier's planes got destroyed. Because the Kutuzov really does have very good anti-air. And that's even without the anti-air ability, although which I might have used, but I usually try to save it for attack squadrons. Anyways, now that Hatsuharu is probably moving away from there, I'm gonna just keep shelling and moving in the same direction, and then eventually go into B. Because I can do it, I have smoke, so it's entirely possible for me to get inside the cap and smoke. Also note that if you actually use smoke on the ship, what you need to do is that you need to be at either something like 1/2 speed before you actually use smoke. Otherwise you will just, if you use smoke and then start stopping, by the time you stop you're gonna slide out of the smoke. So that's definitely not a really good choice. Oh, so we see the Hatsuharu. This means that the B cap is clear. They don't have any other destroyers left anyway, so I can definitely go for B. Which I think is a good idea, because we are already capping A. And we are slowly capping D, but we might not get it. Or it might just be decapped for us. Or, you know, the enemy might cap us. That's what I meant. And they might actually get C, because we only have 2 ships there, and there are 2 enemy ships, so they definitely could take it. But they don't have anything at B. They have a bunch of battleships. So essentially the best choice is for me to get close to B, then slow down, pop smoke, and just keep shelling the battleships. Hopefully someone will spot it for me, like the planes or something. That way I can just keep shelling the battleships. They can shoot back, but I mean, it's still inside smoke, so dispersion gets really, really bad, and blind shots as a battleship, the dispersion is massive. So now I'm gonna come around the corner, the battleships will start shelling at me, as, you know, the other ones do, but since I'm moving closer and they probably aren't expecting me to, it gives me a bit of an advantage, especially with the angling, so the chance of them missing is rather high. Look, I slowed my ship down to 3/4 even before I actually got into the cap, and now I'm gonna go full stop. I'm gonna use smoke the moment I hit the cap. Okay, I'm inside the cap now. Time to use smoke. And just keep shelling the New Mexico. Hopefully get some fires again and deal some damage maybe. Although the damage is pitiful. I mean, that was 11 hits and it did 700 damage. But it did get the fire, and the fires is what I'm going for. Although I haven't actually tested it. I don't have that many games on the Kutuzov. It might be actually worth it to shoot AP at the superstructure. It might actually deal a lot more damage, but I'm not sure. Right now I wish we had something to actually spot, but we don't. Oh well, whatever. The important thing is to not get out of the smoke, and I got the cap, which is excellent. Now I can either pull back or keep pushing. Because we have all the 4 caps and we have more ships left, I think it's fine if I just stay here, shell, and once the smoke dissipates, just go push into them. Because I think this game is going to be a rather short one. Because, you know, we got all the 4 caps and we have a ship's advantage. Yeah, like I said, I wish there was spotting here, but I mean, sometimes you just don't have it. Well, luckily there is going to be a battleship coming around AB, so he's gonna be able to spot the Colorado, I think. That volley wasn't very good. By the way, the thing is, you know when you fire and your guns are ready, what you should do is you should start double-clicking a tiny moment before they are ready. That way you won't waste any time. Oh, a Cleveland. Wow. This guy came around. Actually didn't realize that he wasn't spotting me at that moment. I should have stayed inside the smoke, although I'm not sure, maybe the smoke already disappeared. Anyways, I switched to AP from HE because my HE damage just is very weak. And I torpedo him as well. Look, that was almost 5,000 damage, and he was angled. Like, at close range encounters, you really want to go for the damage instead of like burst damage, instead of like damage that takes a while. Okay, he dodged that torpedo volley, but now I'm gonna get closer and I'm going to hold this until I see him either commit to a turn, but he doesn't appear to be right now. He is going straight. Okay, he's turning. I'm gonna torpedo him now, and now move away, and boom goes the Cleveland. To be fair, I don't think there was anything he could really do. Maybe he could have settled me, but I think that I took out at least one of his front guns with AP, so he really had a bad fight there. Not to mention he is tier 6, I am tier 8, and we are rather similar. It's just the Kutuzov does almost everything better. So she was at a definite disadvantage there. But they had to push it. Like, I mean, if they don't kill us and kept and stuff, they are going to lose. Maybe it would have been better if he had packed the guy up at sea, but I think it wouldn't have been enough. I think they would have needed to at least take 3 caps to have a chance of winning. But now that the Cleveland's gone, most of the threat is also gone, so I guess I'm just gonna shell the Colorado from long range again. I'm gonna keep my nose pointed towards her because this also gives me the opportunity to move closer. And it also makes it so that I'm less likely to get hit. Although if I do get hit, it's, especially at the nose, it's gonna be a sizzle hit. Because the armor isn't very good. So, essentially this game's already over. Yes, they have one of the caps, but we have 3 and we're at 900 points already. Which is actually surprising because it hasn't even been 11 minutes so far. But, I mean, I guess it happens. One thing the Kutuzov does lack is, like I said, the HE shells themselves deal very little damage. Like, the target needs to essentially be like a destroyer, otherwise it's just not gonna deal much damage. So it might be worth it to try to fire actually AP. Because with HE you're essentially focusing on fires. Okay, the carrier is coming for me with dive bombers, so I use my anti-air ability because she is coming directly towards me. So either she pulls back, and in which case we win the game, or I just shoot some planes down. Which I guess I did. That was an entire squadron before it even reached me. But the game ended, because some of their ships sank, I think. 8,400 experience, that's good enough with the multipliers. 400k credits, 1 full cap, 133 hits, 14 plane shutdown, 8 fires. 1860 experience, but it's only an 11-minute game, so this was a really good result. 73k damage in an 11-minute game is really good. At least as a cruiser, as a Kutuzov specifically. So this was a really good game. So on the Kutuzov I use the following modules. I use main battery modification 1 because you don't want your turrets being destroyed and you want a lower detonation chance. Then AA ability because you have amazing anti-air, so this range does increase it by a lot. Then I use propulsion modification 1, although you can use damage control system modification 1, just don't use the steering gears one. This one only makes sense if you have last stand, so that your ship is still maneuverable. Although I haven't noticed that the Kutuzov's engines get destroyed all that much, usually it's just the guns. Steering gears modification 1 for better maneuverability, although all of these are fine more or less, but I like the maneuverability one. And concealment, because concealment is the most important thing, since you have good range. You're not gonna be that much screening for torpedoes, so target acquisition isn't that great in my opinion. On top of that, you really want concealment. I mean, look at this. Even with this, it has 12.7 kilometer concealment range, although I don't have the captain's skill. My Tirpitz does have the captain's skill, and Tirpitz, a battleship, is at 12.3, so the Kutuzov definitely should get concealment things so that she doesn't get destroyed. Although she does have smoke, which is really useful, but still, you might need both of them. I obviously use premium repair and premium smoke. I use premium anti-air consumable, but you don't really have to do this because, well, you definitely don't want to use hydro because you are expected to be the AA cruiser, so defensive fire is definitely what you must get. But the thing is that planes don't come around you. Like, carriers are like, oh my fucking god, it's a Kutuzov, and they bail out, so they don't come towards you. So usually, you know, having defensive fire 1 is good enough, especially if you're lacking credits. I mean, if you play 100 games and have the premium anti-air fire, you're gonna be down 2 million credits, so it's a sizable cost still. Or, you know, not down, you're gonna have less. In terms of captain skills, I use situational awareness, then expert marksman, because faster turret traverse is always nice, especially since the Kutuzov's turrets aren't the fastest turning, considering that she's a cruiser. Superintendent for more smokes and anti-air abilities, so essentially the anti-air ability doesn't matter. You can use all the smokes though. The other thing you could use is vigilance, which is also very nice. But again, you aren't very often in the screening position, so it doesn't matter as much. Advanced firing training is really nice in my opinion, because since you are the anti-air cruiser, that's what you get. Although demolition expert is also a very nice thing, because as far as I remember, the fire chance isn't the greatest on the Kutuzov. But because, you know, this was supposed to mainly still be an anti-air cruiser, I use advanced firing training. On the 19-point captain, I would have got demolition expert as the second ability. Although I guess manual fire control for AA would be incredible as well on the ship. But I think that's a bit of an overkill. Like, this thing will wipe the floor with Hakuryu's planes and stuff. And obviously, then if I had 15 points, I would have gone for concealment expert because it's minus 12% detectability of cruises. So that would have been like another minus 1.4 kilometers off, and this would actually put me below the Tirpitz. Which would be insane if you actually stayed on a cruiser with full concealment upgrades and still be above battleship concealment. I think this ship is amazing. Like, I just don't know, I don't have that much experience with her, but I think this ship is absolutely amazing. She has very good range. Her shells don't deal all that much damage with HE, but the fires are just awesome. Let's look at this. The fire chance is 12%, so the plus 3% is definitely a good upgrade. But I find the anti-air range is a bit better because this puts the big gun at 7.2 kilometers and the other one at 5.1. So planes essentially get wiped even before they get to you, especially if the planes are like your tier planes. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe and thanks for watching.